Hi, my name is Marcel Wozana, and I'd like to welcome you to the first Pedagothèque for English Teachers workshop. So today we're going to talk about how to plan a lesson using the task-based learning framework. First of all, let's start with the basic question. What is task-based learning? Well, the concept of task-based learning is different from a traditional PPP lesson: present, practice, all of that. So, in a more traditional lesson, you will usually begin by providing students with vocabulary and then some grammar. Then you'll give them some exercise for them to put that into context. And then you will give them some time to practice what they have just learned. Well, the task-based learning, the TBL, flips that around. The first thing here we do is bring communication to the forefront of the class. So instead of starting with the grammar rule, you begin with the communication task before you correct the grammar. So now you bring a situation, you offer the students a situation where they will learn by doing. They have to complete the task and they have to learn the language and the grammar as they go along in order to complete that task. What could be a task? Well, there are many possibilities. Everyday things can be tasks, like planning a trip, creating a social media post, or solving any sort of problem. The idea here is to bring language through use, not before use. The TBL, the TBL lesson is divided into these three phases: the pre-task, the task cycle itself, and then the language focus. So let's start looking at the pre-task first. You will begin the lesson by priming the student for the task. You will do exercises where you will activate their background knowledge. You will review key language, set goals, present the task to them, and then you will continue into the task cycle, where students complete the task. They will work together, they will communicate, they will negotiate, and that's where the Vygotsky's zone of proximal development comes in, right? All of these constructivist theories play very well here in TBL. You can have Piaget's cognitive development theory working here as you provide them tasks that are adequate for their cognitive development. Vygotsky's zone of proximal development works very well here in the task cycle as you pair students with perhaps stronger pairs that will challenge students that are still working towards the level. And then finally, we get to the language focus, where after the task, we zoom in on useful phrases and grammar and we work on pronunciation there. So the rhythm follows this timeline. You start with the task, you prepare the students for the task, you offer them a revision of language that they already know that could be useful, vocabulary that they already know that could be useful, but nothing very new. You're just activating prior knowledge. Then comes the task cycle where they complete the task and they have to use what they know in order to reach the goal. Meanwhile, the teacher is circulating the room and taking notes and observing, helping out students that could be stuck in the cycle. And then students present their outcome. This is very important. Students must always be presenting and talking about what they know. So while they're doing the task cycle, maybe you could assign roles. You could have the student who's going to take notes about everything that's being talked about. You can have the students that'll be timing their activity. You can have the student who will be managing the situation and making sure everybody is completing their part of the agreement there. And you can have the student who will present to the class their final outcome. After everything is said and done, we move on to the language focus. The teacher now has notes that they have taken throughout the task cycle and the presentations. Now the teacher can go to the board or talk to them, present to them grammar that could have been useful. Maybe they are talking about uh, events that happened that are complete in the past or that have effects today. So you'll help them differentiate between past simple and present perfect verb tenses. Then you present them with a new task, or they can fix their task that they have already done, incorporating this new language, and then present again. And that's it. The lesson is probably done after an hour or an hour and a half. Chances are you've completed quite a lot in that class. So let's take a look at an example of what a lesson could look like. In the pre-tasks phase, you could have a video, show a video of a trip advisor or a video of a travel log or an advertisement for a hotel or a resort of some sort. And you can start by asking them if they have ever been on a trip like that, if they have ever participated in the planning of a trip. You could ask them what they would need to plan a trip and ask them to make a list. You write them on the board, vocabulary for that lesson. Things like budget, activities, transportation, clothing items. Then, once you move to the task cycle, you group them and you provide them with the task, which you have already primed them to work on in the pre-task. In groups, they will design a trip plan using Google Slides or Canva, and the goal is to present the plan to the class. That's it, very simple. And then finally, after they have their plans ready, they present. And after the presentation, you will highlight useful expressions. So you could say, how about instead of, you could use this grammar. Let's go to, or that sounds great. And you can teach them the vocabulary for that part then. Now, this doesn't have to restrict itself to English language learning. You can apply task based learning to pretty much any subject at school. So, taking this framework from EFL, ELL, you can bring it to CLIL, Content Language Integrated Learning. So, this is where you teach the language through content as they are integrated. This is very common in bilingual schools where the language taught at the school is different from the local language, yet you see all the school subjects in that foreign language. Very common in bilingual schools. So you could teach science using the task based learning framework. You could ask students to Design an infographic explaining the water cycle. You could teach geography and have students plan a sustainable city. The goal here is to use English to think, to create, and to collaborate. Now, if you want to try planning your task based learning, head over to the Substack post and download your free planner that I have provided. It's got questions to guide you through the planning, to make you think about your lesson. It's free. You can make a copy of the editable Google Doc template, or you can download a PDF to print. And I'd love to hear your ideas. Try them out in your class. Send me some messages if you're not sure how to work on it. Share your comments. Tag Pedagotech for English teachers on social media. And subscribe to the Substack so that you can get more of these ideas directly in your email. It's free in the month of November. There's a 25% discount till the end of 2025. And in December, I'm going to start sharing some stories from coaching sessions that I have worked with teachers with problems, real classroom problems that I hope you will connect to and hopefully get some creative ideas to use in your classroom. Thank you very much.